As some of you may know, last month I visited Riot Games, where I got a chance to talk to some of the devs. I already showed you our talk with the MMO team and the League of Legends team, but now it is time for TFT. But this time, even though once again I was not holding back on the questions, nothing got cut out. So you're gonna get the raw experience, but also because it was a very unique chance to talk to the devs, of course I had to troll them a little bit. And so while in the first half of the video we'll be talking about TFT, in the second half I prepared a bit of a therapy session for them. And I think it turned out pretty well, so enjoy!
So, TFT sets have gone through quite a few innovations throughout pretty much every single set. Do you as a team think you still have the willpower and you still have the brains to like go crazy? Because right now, if you put me in your chair, I would sweat because it's not easy to innovate from this point on.
It's definitely not, and there are definitely days it's a lot. But that's one of the things that keeps us going on TFT is that it's a game that I think has a lot of potential, a lot of possibility, and it feels like we're just getting started, and there's a lot more to do. So I think we still have a lot more in us. So
All right, I'm gonna believe you.
I think we do sweat though.
Yes.
I think there's like days that we come in, like Mort and I had a one-on-one earlier this week, and literally we were talking about that, like what are mechanics that we're thinking about for the future. And I think sometimes we panic, but then I think that's part of the fun of it is like when you really nail a mechanic and you're like, holy shit, like this is rad.
Yeah.
So I think that's been such a fun thing to watch the team do and talk about. So.
What I kind of love about TFT is that, from my perspective, I don't play League that much anymore because I played since beta. I grind ranked until season 6, and I was kind of done with it. For me, I'm getting a little bit of like a PvP anxiety where I don't want to constantly compare myself, every second against someone else. And it's kind of interesting how TFT feels a little bit like a battle royale where you kind of queue into TFT knowing that there's a very high chance you're not actually gonna win. And so I like that TFT is kind of breaking that. But also on top of that, have you thought about making a mode where TFT would be just purely PvE?
it definitely has been thought about. It's one of those things that I, as a designer, would love to make. The challenge with all PvE content is that people consume it fast, and it takes a long time to make. And we've seen how obsessive Riot Games players can be, and it's like, you give them 40 hours of content, and 39 hours later they beat it all. So, that's always the trade-off. But who knows? The future could have things in store. But yeah, it's definitely, it could be a very fun space. I agree.
I think one of the things that's really cool too is Mort and a lot of the designers on the team have also worked on some of our modes for League in the past. Mort was lead designer on Odyssey.
Star Guardian was Rowan, you were Odyssey.
Yep, that's correct.
Odyssey is my favorite game mode that ever came out in League.
Everybody says.
Absolutely. I know you might have gotten in trouble and me pinning all the responsibility on you for that one, and I know it wasn't just you.
No, it's
but you are kind of like the grandfather of that game mode in my eyes.
Well, I mean, it's funny because Odyssey and TFT have a lot in common. It was very much a 5-month project.
When Galaxies came out, I could feel that little spark from the Odyssey coming back.
Yeah, no, it's small team, 5 months, put it all together, crazy. Even back in Odyssey, it was scrapping to get all the augments put together. But that's the fun of game development is coming up with those scrappy projects.
Yeah. So. Can you talk about what's the relation between TFT and Golden Spatula, which is, I believe, the Chinese version?
Yeah, so we manage the entire franchise, and so we basically think about TFT, TFT Mobile, and then in China we have a specific mobile version, which is Firefly Golden Spatula. It's awesome. We get to manage a really wonderful team of writers that work directly on that product. And we've been really proud of the kind of growth and the success that we've seen for that. One of the things that's unique about Fire for the Golden Spatula is that it does differentiate a little bit with cosmetics, but it retains the exact same core gameplay. So all of the sets are basically the same. Occasionally we'll see rotating game modes a little bit different for that product as well. But yeah, it's a very close collaboration amongst the entire franchise here, right?
I was going to ask because there are some cosmetics which people love in the Golden Spatula. Are those cosmetics developed by them, or is it I don't know, the Shanghai office is making the cosmetics and then they are distributed to either the West or to China?
Yeah, so we have different cosmetics in both games, and so like we'll make specific things for Fight for the Golden Spatula, and then that'll be slightly different than the things that we have in TFT PC or on mobile.
Alrighty. So is there a chance you can like port those over?
We're talking about it.
I think it has happened in the past, isn't it?
So yeah, we've had certain content that has been kind of shared by both games, but we are definitely looking at tech that'll enable us to basically have content that's shared between both builds, if possible.
Have you, at the beginning, have you thought about like different kinds of monetization for TFT? Because one of my ideas was a really crazy one at the very beginning, before we even knew like how TFT would work. I thought that you would connect League of Legends and TFT and the cosmetics. Like I thought that you would have a team in TFT and you would actually use the skins from League, like build your own little army and like because
cool.
I thought it would be a cool idea from like like in Warhammer, you like build your army.
Yeah, it's like Warhammer.
I thought that's what you were gonna do, and then of course it wouldn't work with sets. So like at the beginning, did you consider like different kinds of monetization that like you can talk about?
You want to take that?
Yeah. I mean, we definitely considered a lot of things, like you said, the skins. But we kind of started really early with the pillar that like it was a gameplay first game, and then we would worry about monetization later, which has been a challenge. But I think it has paid off in the sense that like we prioritize making sure the game is fun for everyone first, and then the cosmetic stuff is optional. But we are looking to expand our options because it's important to make sure that like there's something for everyone to purchase and customize and make sure they look cool. But we do really want to stick to our like, again, it's free to play, like literally, and so like that's going to be the crux of everything is if we come up with something, it can't affect gameplay. We want, somebody who never pays a dime to be able to win worlds.
Right.
Like that's still our big pillar.
I think one of the other things that's interesting is like one of the hypotheses that we had is if we had skins that were different, like let's say like Garen's in a set like right now with Return Reforged. If Garen had different skins, it could directly affect gameplay. It's like all of a sudden you have a different skin equipped, and I don't really know what your champion is, or I'm not familiar with that skin, and so then I can't read the board state. So that was an early concern that we had with one of those approaches. Over time, we've actually learned that that's kind of less of a concern. So at some point in the future, we might revisit that. But for right now, at least for the foreseeable future, we're not doing that.
Have you considered separating TFT from the League client?
Yes.
Might be the most asked question.
That is a loaded question. I think there's like so many pros and cons, and like if you were to ask like Jeff, what do you lose sleep over at night? Like this is one of those questions that I lose sleep over at night. There's something really cool about the flow of like I played a couple League games and then I'm gonna hop over because all my friends went to bed and I'm gonna play TFT, and I think conceptually we want to preserve that. And so as a result of that, we've made the decision to not remove TFT from the League client or kind of have it be a standalone. That said, like we definitely want to level up the experience for the client, and so that's something that we've talked a lot about as a team. And also we've talked a lot about like, well, what if you're not a League player and you want to come in and you just want to be a TFT player? How do we kind of put you into the TFT experience, but then in a reciprocal way to what League's done with TFT, kind of, if you're interested, help you discover League as well. So I think that's a really cool problem space that we're actively talking about that I think over the coming years we'll definitely make some development against. But yeah, for right now, like I think that the benefits of being in the League client really, really are positive for all of our players. And
I gotta ask that because I know that that's a frequently asked question, and I personally don't really have a problem with it.
Yeah.
Because if you look at the client as in like a game hub similar to like what Blizzard has or anyone really, it still works.
Totally.
Totally. All right, now I know that game development is hard. Making games is hard. So I thought we could do a little therapy session.
Yeah.
Ooh. I'm gonna show you an image
Okay.
or a couple of images, and you're just gonna tell me your feelings. All right.
It's a Rorschach.
So let's start with this one. How do you feel about this?
A little anticipation of like what's inside, what cool thing could it be?
I see.
But also a little like, oh, those eggs have been,
I feel like I'm like clicking and waiting for the animation to finish and then clicking again. And
I also want to say that animation has been broken for a while. I don't know if it's my client, but
and
like
I have
mine's
40
always...
to click.
Yeah.
And then it's an hour later.
Is it low spec mode? Do you have low spec mode on?
I don't think so, actually.
Okay, because that's the
There's no
cheat.
animation, yeah,
Yeah,
video
if you
open
turn
up
low spec
faster.
on, it'll just instantly open.
No way!
Yeah.
I've been doing the wrong thing all the whole time. All right, what about this one? How do you feel about this one?
Oh, sad.
Yeah.
You know what that is?
No, what is that?
So that was way back when
I remember.
Yeah, when we first like announced maps
Yeah.
of like a thing we were going to do.
So we showed
had a
that.
bunch of concepts. And there were 2 concepts.
Why did
One
we
was
call
this.
it?
That's
That's
my
a great-
favorite.
Yeah, so there was the Bilgewater one, and then there was the Star Guardian Park one.
Yeah.
Wait,
And players asked for it. They're like, "When are you ever going to make that cool thing?"
Yeah.
it's Runeterra Reforged. What?
Yeah.
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 Allowed it,
No,
man.
so sadness is what I feel.
if you like this and you want this, like and subscribe.
I'll make it work. What about this one? You can read it for yourself if you want.
Yeah. So this one I actually feel good now because
Because I mean, you announced something and then like didn't follow up on that, I believe. For a while.
no. So the treasure troves.
Yes.
The plan is to put past stuff in there occasionally, and so
Right.
what'll happen is past stuff will start showing
Right.
up, and so I'm actually like fine. Like if anything, I'm like finally because I like.
You're hopeful.
Well, it's because I've been asked this question so many times,
yeah.
and we knew it was in the works for
Oh,
so
yeah.
long,
And we could talk about it.
and we couldn't talk about it. And so now
Yeah.
it's like, no, it's there, and so like, yes, past stuff will show up, and it's going to be great.
Yeah.
So I feel better.
Is it like stuff from Battle Pass that like people missed?
Yeah, no. So the
Right.
plan is like everything is up for grabs
Right.
that could go in a treasure
Right.
trove. So
Yeah, and I think one of the things that was really interesting was like we were working on Treasure Realms for like
Yeah.
22 months or something like that, and like we couldn't talk about it until it came out, and so
Right.
like we would see this on Reddit, and Mort would get it tweeted
A
to him. and
specific
everyone-
one?
Yeah,
and
yes.
we'd be like, yeah, at some point. The other thing that's interesting is I think we are also looking at other ways to like rotate past cosmetics in as well. So like some of them will be in Treasure Realms. Maybe one day there might be other systems that you could use, like maybe like a different shop or something.
Are Mythic arenas in like consideration there, or not Mythic? What are they? Ultimate, the big ones.
I don't think so. I think a lot of our like higher end stuff, at least for now, is not going in.
yeah, like I said, we'll figure out the proper way. But the point is, we're addressing this,
All right.
and we agree it's a thing. Like it sucks to join in a game. Like let's say you started playing in Gizmos and Gadgets,
Yeah.
and then like you see this cool thing. You're like, how do I get it?
Yeah.
Oh, you
Yeah,
can't
yeah.
ever.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
gone.
No, that's not cool.
Space Mole, my favorite
Space
one.
Mole's the
Yes.
best.
All right, what about? Oh, do you want to talk about this one for a second?
Look, Ashe is a great archetype, and
Yes,
she
so
has
many AD
she
carries in
has
the game.
so many skins. No, but she has so many skins.
That's true.
And
that's
it's
true.
like you don't need the third gun person, right? You need someone
you
that has
got
a
the bow
bow
person.
Yeah, and so like between Ashe and Yasuo, because Yasuo is the other one that we do in like every set.
Yeah.
What I can say is there's a future set, and we already actually acknowledged it. I won't say which set, but we're like, wait, there's no Ashe. Players are
good,
going to love
though?
that. Yeah, I think it
it?
is. I think it is. Like,
Is
we
it like a
gotta
Ram?
seek
Is it like a
action
Rammus
somehow.
moment, but for Ashe?
well, yeah, or so now because like you know how it is. Everyone's going to ask about the thing that hasn't been there
Yep.
the longest. So it's like, where's Yorick and Karthus?
Oh, yeah.
Those are the two right
Oh,
now.
yeah.
So
I want someone to like nuke my backline carry, immediately. All right. How do you feel about this one?
Coming soon.
Confirmed. That's confirmed. Right there.
Shrek Gragas.
How do you feel about this one?
That's Shruggles.
No comment. Oh no.
I love Overwatch. That
Oh.
Connected to that.
Oh no. Oh no.
How do you feel about this one?
Man. Okay.
this is just
Pride and so look. Odyssey is the coolest thing I've ever made that no one can ever play again.
Yeah.
And it's like I'm so proud of it, but like all my old games I've ever worked on, you can play them.
you still
This,
play 'em, yeah.
this, nope,
Yeah,
no.
coolest thing League ever
Oh,
You can write Mark Merrill.
had. One more in me.
oh
How
no.
do you feel about this one?
I've watched enough of your videos.
Did you?
You know, yeah.
I think that sums it up. I don't think we have to say anything.
No, it's,
We learned a lot. I think there was a lot that the intent was really good, and then I think in the execution, like there was some flaws for sure.
you know what actually this makes me think of too is shadow items, which
Yeah.
is still like my
which
Yeah.
also
it's like all right, that's a learning. So it's
Yeah.
like we learned a lot from shadow
Yeah.
items.
I think actually that's one of the things that I love about Rioters and Riot in general is like when we try things, we really try to learn from that, and we really try to listen to the community.
It's actually something like, as I walked around and I talked to people, it's like something I heard. It's like when something doesn't work, that's like that's kind of like the best moment at Riot because like everyone is suddenly aligned on the goal. It's like, you know, how do we address this?
Right.
You know, how do we make it better?
Well, and I think in TFT in particular, like, you know, we'll try to take that and then we'll cascade it forward into like future mechanics that we make or like radiant items.
I was going to say the shadow items, we released them. And, you know, it was pretty clear within about 2 weeks that, like, they weren't going to work. And so we had this, like, really come-together moment where it was like, okay, what do we do?
Right.
And because we were planning Radiant items as, like, a maybe kind of thing, but we had this moment where I was like, what if we just threw away shadow items, and what if we made, and it worked, right?
It's kind of interesting how, like, thematically it worked.
Exactly. And so, like, it worked thematically, it worked gameplay. And so, like, as much as I like to, you know, look at shadow items as a learning, I look at Radiant items as a big success, and so it was like a big turnaround and showed that we could pivot real quick. So
that's pretty much it. You know, my little.
They should have brought some that
you can keep
show.
if you want.
Do I get to keep the Odyssey one?
You can totally keep that. You can totally keep that. I want to thank you for your time.
Of course.
I don't really. I usually just like, you know, got it. So if you want to say like bye or anything, you can. You don't have to. We can just awkwardly stare.
Take it easy.
Well, also, I think it's that camera.
I know. I looked.
That's what I do after every take.
It's like.
Don't forget to like and
That's going at the end now.
I can do it.
You can, are you sure?
Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Actually, look into that camera.
Look into that. Okay. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Okay, then look at that camera.
Why? You make what?
You gotta do them both.
Gotta do both.
Yeah.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.
You have to do them
Now
both
look
at
at the
same time.
Oh my
microphone.
god! I'm kidding.